Welcome to Falling into 40 with Bailey and Jessica.
Welcome back to Falling into 40. Woo! With Bailey and Jessica, your favorite almost 40-year-olds.
You're closer than me.
Yes, it's nearing. It is nearing. And we are on spring break this week. And we are home.
Yes. My favorite place to be.
You know, I'm really a homebody, and I need time at home to get things done. I like to go and do stuff, but I also like a designated time where I know that I get to be at home and I know that I don't have to stay on my routine. I can just I can read a book, I can watch a show, or I can do all the things on the list that need to be done.
Have you ever been a big, even younger, was your family a big, we're going to leave for spring break and go somewhere type family? Did y'all do that? Or have you always, even growing up, been more of a stay at home on spring break kind of lifestyle? Because I think that some people are and some people aren't. And so just curiosity. Did you was that something you did growing up?
So I think growing up, spring breaks were spent when my dad and stepmom moved back from their stint overseas. I think our spring breaks were spent with him and my stepmom, with my dad and stepmom. And in college, when everybody's doing the college spring break stuff, there was always golf tournaments my first 2 years. But we did get to go to Florida for a golf tournament. And we actually went one night out to, what is the name of the town? I'm going to have to look it up. And it was fun. I think I remember Live on E. Do you remember that show?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
They were
They
there.
were there?
Oh, Ybor City. That's what it was. Ybor City. And there was a rotating dance floor, in the smoke and yeah. So anyway, that was fun.
When I was in college, that's just my lameness in college was that spring break. I always looked forward to going home, getting a cooked meal and getting my laundry done and all of that. I don't think I really ever went anywhere for spring break in my college years. So
I didn't. That was the only reason I did get to go to Florida was because of golf. I never would have had been able to do that, I'm sure. But other than that, I don't really remember any big spring break things. I think my mom was always working. I don't know. I can't think of there being any trips on spring break that were big or, I always remember when teaching, and you might feel the same way, when kids come back from Christmas or spring break, I always hated to ask, where did anybody, who all went somewhere? Because I didn't want the ones that didn't get to go anywhere to think that that was a bad thing.
Right.
Does that, just because it's okay to stay home and it's okay if you are staying home because you can't afford to go somewhere, or by choice. Either way, it's okay to be at home and to remember that just having a break is something to be grateful for.
And so important. Spring break is a recharge where we can kind of reset. We've had the kind of rush into the spring activities and sports and things like that. And then we know, like, to the finish line of the school year from now till then is going to be just so busy and such a blur that this time this week for us is almost like, like a breath of fresh air, and can take a deep breath. And honestly, we have two big milestones in my family during this week, because in 2007, my husband and I got married. Like, the night we got married was daylight savings time, so everybody loved us the next morning. And then a year and 3 days later, we had our daughter. So we have our anniversary, and then 3 days later, we have our daughter's birthday. So that always falls during spring break, which keeps us kind of home, not rushing off doing anything either. So.
And how many years did you guys just celebrate?
17 years.
17 years. And was it March? What was it?
March 10th.
March 10th.
Yep.
My brother and his wife got married on March 8th, and I forgot to text them, and texted my sister-in-law on the 9th, which she said no worries. But I'm that person. I'm the worst unless I have it in my phone, or, I haven't opened my planner and I just don't think ahead, So I missed the actual day. And then you've got a birthday in your house this week, you said. So that's exciting, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
Exciting but sad. It came too fast. 16 came very fast. And 16 feels different. 15 felt like, yes, she's growing bigger, but 16 just feels different. She's gaining this new independence with driving, and we're just a couple of years from graduation. So we're talking colleges and what we're going to do. And so it just feels different. It feels bigger than birth dates in the past, I think. So I don't know. I've found myself kind of getting a little sad about it, just because it just feels like she's gaining such an independence. And everybody says once they start driving, you never see them anymore. And so it's just kind of sad, honestly.
Aww. Isn't there I'm thinking of two different Taylor Swift songs. I'm thinking of Don't You Ever Grow Up, Just Stay This Little. Oh, da, da, da. And then the one that's She Is 16 going on, no? 17. Now I'm singing the other tune. Okay. I don't know.
Isn't that from a musical?
She is 16 going on 17.
It is.
I don't know, but I'm making it up as I go. Oh, woo!
I am dead. That was awesome.
Yes.
Well, if it wasn't a musical, it is now.
It is now. I will be casting roles soon, so yeah. You'll need to watch for that. I think this week has been extra great so far, just because I haven't felt that pressure of getting up. And we've made a big adjustment this year that I've talked about, and the kids, the boys' academics are much more, the amount that they have to do and turn in, and I have to initial every page to make sure that I'm doing my part on the stay at home days.
Mhm.
And if they don't have every single page initialed to show that I looked over it with them, or that I taught it to them or reiterated it, then they get a 0 for the assignment. And I have this overhanging fear every school morning that I didn't get it initialed, but it's one of those things too that they have to remember to help me remember to initial. Like that's part of their responsibility. But so it's a lot of initials. Anyway, it's been really nice not worrying about those little things. And I get up almost at the same time every day because my little dog wakes up. She wants to go outside. And then I've been coming back in and laying down on the couch because it's early. And I go into a deep nap, like the one that I can't wake up from. Like I'm sleeping so hard. And it's, I mean, like literally can't open my eyes. And the boys are like, Mom, get up. Like it's spring break. I don't want to.
Yeah.
But I've been painting too. I started painting a room and listening to a book. My neck and back are a little bit sore from looking up, doing my painting. And it's painting exposed brick, which you can't really use a roller for because it doesn't
You have to get into it too.
all of it. And if I didn't, yes, and you have to like push. So I've been using a brush and like Bob Rossing it.
Yes. Oh.
But there's sunlight's coming in. I don't know. I keep the back door open. The dogs are coming and going, and I'm listening to my book. So there's something relaxing about that too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I feel like we always decide that there's a project we want to do on spring break because you get that entire week to kind of get from start to finish. Because I feel like during the year, we'll start a project and we can only work on it in this little short amount of time on the weekends, and then we have to leave it wide open until we can have time to do it again. And at least on spring break, you get the entire week to maybe get from start to finish, or at least close to finish on a project. So that is nice. I will be cleaning out closets as soon as we get our big birthday stuff done. I'm going to be cleaning out closets because we are busting at the seams with clothing and changing out winter clothes and bringing those warmer weather clothes back in and all of that stuff. So that's what I'm hoping to be spending my weekend doing, is getting the closets done. I'm horrible about getting rid of stuff, though. I come up with reasons why I need certain things. It's it's not good.
So I think a lot of people are that way. I'm that way, but once I start, sometimes it's like there's no stopping, and it might go the extreme other way.
Yeah.
Throwing too much out. But so I was talking to two other friends because sometimes it's hard to figure out what to do with your things when you're getting rid of them. And I think the reason that it's good to do a clean out, it's almost like spring cleaning, right? You're just kind of getting ready for the new season, like you said. But I'm going to tell you, there is a place, a company, I guess, a group. I'm assuming it is a nonprofit. It's called Door of Hope Ministry.
Oh, okay.
And it says, our mission is helping people find their way back to God. We've seen the transformation hundreds of times. People who came to us full of doubt and uncertainty become secure in the knowledge of their rightful place in God's great kingdom. The change may start slowly in a Bible study class or worship service, but once it begins, it picks up speed. The good works, shared experiences, and time spent in prayer all bring us closer to our highest calling, providing help to those who want to break free from addictions and need a safe place to stay. And so that comes straight off of their website. And you have to contact them, and from what I understand, they'll send a truck to you and take it off your hands.
Awesome.
I don't think that it can be like 1 or 2 boxes. So it would be really awesome if several families had a big purge of their clothes, and I think they'll take toys and they use them there.
That's awesome.
Household items. Yeah. So, like I said, I did not find out about that. A friend was telling me about it yesterday, and I thought, I need to do something like that. One, it hits home because of the recovery of addiction, and we just don't know, when we haven't walked in somebody else's shoes, why they've made the choices that they've made and how they got into such a bad spot. It means a lot that they're wanting to get better. And while you're getting better, not everybody has a safe home to get better in. Some people have to remove themselves from that place and start completely over. And if there's not a job, I mean, sometimes you have to get better before you can even take on life again. And so I think this is what this program or this organization does. So anyway, I think that would be a great thing to do.
That's awesome. I wrote that down because yes, I have a haul myself, and I know my in-laws and other family members. I bet we could put stuff together and come up with,
fill it up, right?
Fill it up, yeah. Because I mean, we have a lot. So,
have you ever had a garage sale, Bailey?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, they're a lot of work.
I don't love them.
They're really horrible. Now, I think garage sales are fun if, I know there's a church in town that'll do a big garage sale. I think they still do. And I think that's fun. I think they do it for their youth program. And maybe that's how they get to go on their ski trip, or instead of doing a fundraiser, that is the garage sale is the fundraiser. But sometimes it's easier just to box it up and give it to somebody that really needs it. This week you've got one of your kiddos that's doing their sport, practicing, going lots of places, right? To golf and play different courses.
So you said golf earlier, and I just thought, yep, that's last year, and then this year, and then for 2 more years. We kind of have talked about it. Maybe in 2 years we can do something on spring break. We probably won't, honestly, because we never really have, even before golf was part of our spring break plan. But yeah, we've got something golf related almost every day, but it's prepping because the week after spring break, we've got district tournaments and state tournaments and things like that we're preparing to hopefully be a part of. And so, yeah, she's busy. High school is busy. And so you basically have to commit that you're not going to leave and make that commitment to your team. And that will probably be the case for as long as she's there. And so, but my son's sports kind of took a hold this week. So he's getting to relax and take full advantage of his spring break. But my daughter's just as busy. And then we've got to fit birthday in and all of that stuff. So yeah, it should be fun.
My boys they have a basketball tournament this starting Thursday, and that's really it. It's Thursday, Friday, and then it's double elimination, and if they, win one or both, they get to play on Saturday. But that's all we've got. They have been playing outside. They built a fort yesterday, I saw, and they were over at my mom's house, and I saw them. There's just this little area, kind of a gravelly area, and they had put up these boards together, and then I drove past and I thought, what is he hiding in his hand? One of my kids. And I said, what are y'all doing? And they're like, just building our fort. I said, well, what's in your hand? And I'm thinking it kind of looked like spray paint, which would have been really weird. And I don't know where he would have gotten that. But that's why I thought he had bug spray, because they had seen a spider, and one of the other kids thought it was a black widow. And so anyway, I said, I don't care if you have bug spray. Quit hiding it.
But he was hiding it.
Yeah. I was like, spray the bugs. I don't really want you to get bit by a black widow. So spray away. But they've been outside. They still dig in the dirt, and like they had dug a bunker type thing where 3 of them could fit in it at one point, and they were working on that again yesterday. And then today, I think they plan on playing golf, because here we are, March 12th, right?
Yep.
And it's supposed to be 82 degrees today. And I don't know if usually you can't count on the warm weather staying. And they say the saying goes, don't plant all your flowers until after Easter. But Easter's early this year. It's March 30th, I think, whatever that Sunday is. And I don't know how that works, but I don't remember it ever being this early.
Yeah, I think with it changing every year, but this does seem extremely early. But I usually wait till like the last weekend of April to do any planting. But we have kind of spent some time this week outside prepping those things and getting the outside backyard area ready, because that's what I said. I'm ready for pool season and hanging out and all of that. This is just kind of spring break is kind of our little tease right before it's time, before we have to get super duper busy and have no time to do all of that stuff. And
summer is just around the corner, which is crazy. I can't believe we're actually here at spring break already. But it is such a tease, because just like today being 82 degrees, which is it's just enough to make you like, oh, I'm so ready. And then we live in the land of, we don't care what month it is. We'll decide. Mother Nature has control. And tomorrow it could be 40. It's so weird. But this weather, and it's not supposed to be windy today. And living out here in West Texas, we both know that the wind is pretty nasty. So I am thankful that today is warm, not windy. And I hate to rush seasons. Is spring your favorite, or one of your favorites?
I mean, I love when it's starting to warm up, but I would say summer is probably my favorite season. But I do like that it's when it's not super hot. Just spring is so unpredictable, like you said. It could be mid-April and we have a freeze after 80-degree weather. And so the unpredictable weather in spring is what makes me not love spring so much. But I do love when it's starting to like the plants are starting to look pretty again and green and all of that stuff. I do love that about spring, but I don't like that, especially where we live. It's so up and down. I like summer, and I do like fall because I like when it's starting to cool down a little bit in the fall. I enjoy that. But spring to me is so hit or miss with weather. And it's so busy that it's hard to enjoy the spring for us. It's not.
So spring is my least favorite season, and it is because of what you just mentioned. You don't know what you're going to get weather. Is it going to be beautiful, or is it going to be howling winds? And even if it's 80 degrees in the spring, it takes till 4 o'clock to get that perfect temperature. But if the wind's howling, it's just nasty, and you don't want to be in it anyway. And out here where we haven't had enough precipitation, the dirt's in the air, and thank goodness we don't have dust bowls anymore. But looking out, you can tell if you've got a kid with asthma, or you yourself have asthma or allergies. You're like, yeah, this is going to be a day that we're definitely not going outside. And I don't know about you. This is a sensory thing, but the smell of dirt, like in the air, makes me feel like I can't breathe.
And that's spring.
and that is spring. So
yeah.
Yes, my children take Claritin pretty
Every day.
regularly in the spring. Yes, because they get those sinus headaches. And so anyway,
I was trying to
know.
say that without saying that, but yes, I don't love spring. But I feel like spring and winter are on a pretty even playing field for me, because I like snow, but I don't like to be cold. I don't like to just be cold all the time. My body hurts when I'm cold, and so I don't love cold, and I like it to be green out, and I don't know. I love summer, and I love early fall when it's starting to cool off, and not like be freezing, but when it's starting to cool off and things like that. I do enjoy the early fall, but spring and winter, not my favorite.
Fall is my favorite. And I really love winter, and I love summer too. I'm usually ready for the change of seasons, but it's always time when it gets there. But spring to me is just the unpredictable one. But I like that we've started doing here in where we live a fall break. And it's not a whole week like spring break is. But I think it's equally important because just how busy everybody is. And like you said, with your high schooler, sports. And I never knew, because one, I don't have a high schooler yet. I only know from my own experience and with golf. And there's so many more tournaments that high schoolers play in now than when we were in school. But even track, I have one of our good friends has a son that runs track, and he's got mandatory track practice, or is that what you call it? He has mandatory something with track 4 days this week. So a lot of kids aren't going on those big spring break trips. And I like that. I like that they are still busy with school things. And I think for teenagers, it probably helps keep them out of trouble. Not all kids, I know that, but for those that need a little extra, thumb on them, something like that, just to keep them on the straight and narrow, maybe that helps.
Yes. Well, and there's so many more like club sports now too. I think that they have tournaments and different things during this week as well. I have some friends that play club volleyball and different club sports teams that they have tournaments and things this week. So I think this has kind of become a week for a lot of people where either you're taking the week as a reset or you are doing a sporting event. I know when my daughter was very heavy in dancing, her dance schedule has backed down a little bit since she's playing high school sports. But when she danced, there was always one or two flanking the spring break week of dance competitions and things like that. So I think once you get in this season, it becomes your spring break is centered around what your kids have going on. And if it's busy or not, it kind of keeps you in a certain location. It's become less about taking the week for a vacation, or especially at our age with our age of kids. So this is kind of a season where it's centered around like what your kids have going on and what they're doing versus, oh, we get the week to have a vacation or do what we want to do. And it may, I mean, and then once your kids become adults, it's still the same thing, I think. But I don't know.
And for those that are working, lots of families that have both parents working, if their kids are old enough to stay home alone, mom and dad have to keep working, or single moms, they've got to keep working. Not everybody gets to take a spring break.
Mm-mm.
I think on the flip side, there are people that also save their days, their vacation days, and they take those days to be at home with their kids or to go, there's places that you can go that aren't far away. I know there's the Abilene Zoo. So there's things like that you can do, day trips that aren't going to break your bank, that you can still do, that are fun. There's a couple of things I want to do. I'm not going to say them because my boys aren't going to want to do them. When they were little, I used to take them to the pottery.
Uh-huh.
And make
I
a
love
little.
that. Yeah.
Oh, I know. And I could still convince them, especially since Mother's Day is not too far from us, that we could make something for their grandmothers. Things like that are still fun, and I still like to do that kind of stuff too. And then they have, I think it might be called the studio. I don't remember, but you go and you paint, and they teach you.
Like a canvas.
You get to pick which one. Yes, we've had a lot of fun doing stuff like that. So just little things. I think that. Oh, March Madness starts this week for the Big 12.
The
Well,
Big 12
for
tournament.
The Big 12 tournament. Sorry. I just got.
Yeah, I think it's all like the conference tournaments for men. I think the women's tournament might actually start this week. But for men, yeah. And we always love that, watching.
And so Tech plays Thursday at 11:30, right? I think that's correct.
I haven't re-looked.
I was looking
at the exact time, but yeah, we were at their game against Baylor the other day, and it was so much fun. We had a great time. We took the kids. That was kind of our intro to spring break. We just jumped in the car and headed up there. We got the tickets like 2 days before, and it ended up being a really fun time. And that was just kind of an impromptu, like, we just jumped in the car and did it. And those are sometimes the best things. And it was just, we went up there, we ate lunch, we went to the game, and we came home. Nothing fancy or crazy, but we had a great time. And the kids had a really awesome time too.
That was a great game too. We were watching it, and it was kind of getting to a point where we thought, uh-oh. But
yeah, they made it interesting. No. But I always forget. So I grew up in the household where my mom worked for the school district, so she had spring break off. And then me being a former teacher, since I started working, basically because I worked in the college sector first and then elementary school, I've always had a spring break. And so I asked my husband yesterday, it's like, so when you were younger, did y'all go places on spring break? And he was like, no, my parents worked. And so you saying that earlier about working parents, like, this is not a spring break week for most jobs. most jobs, this is just a normal work week. So just because kids are off of school doesn't necessarily mean jobs stop. So I again, it's sometimes we forget that, especially from me, like my entire life has been in that educational setting where we've had that week off. Now we didn't always go somewhere or do something, but we've always had that week off. So I forget sometimes most of the population does actually work this week, and it doesn't stop for everyone just because it's our spring break. And different people have different weeks that they have spring break as well. So yeah, it's interesting.
I was really thankful that the school that the boys are going to and our school system here had the same schedule, just so that they could hang out with their buddies this week. So I've been thankful for that. And I wanted to go ahead and mention while we were talking, so I just wanted to throw it out there since we've already had a episode over books that we really like. And while I've been painting, I've been listening to, I finished it. It's called The Burnout by Sophie Kinsella. And it is such a good book. Now I don't know if I gave any warnings or on the books that I mentioned in the earlier episode that we did. There is some language, and it's a romance, and there is some language in it. And some of the scenes are colorful. But it is a really good listen because the setting is in London, and then a little town outside of London. And she talks, like she's from London, and it's just lovely. I loved it. And they were magical. Anyway, if you need a spring break, listen while you get a lot of your spring cleaning done or whatever it is that you're doing. I especially loved that listen because I felt like I was there, especially with the accent and the setting all combined.
I wrote that one down, and I plan to download it like very quickly after we get off of here and listen to it, as I have some things that I have to have on my list to get done today, and that's what I'm going to do with the rest of my afternoon.
Also, Bailey, I want to tell you, you gave the recommendation of The Unhoneymooners. Loved it.
Did you finish it?
So I finished it, and then I read the book that came afterwards called The Honeymoon Crashers. Loved it.
I haven't gotten to read that one. I want to read that one. Yes.
Okay. So I listened to it, and these are two. The one that I just said, The Burnout, was a great listen because of what I just explained. But you need to listen to The Honeymoon Crashers because it isn't just one narrator. It's a whole cast. And
I love that.
It makes you feel like you're watching a play, or if you need to refreshen up. If you need to freshen up on the book, The Unhoneymooners, that might help. But it was so good. I mean, it was kind of corny at times, and I thought, oh, this is getting cheesy. And then it was just good though, because it was easy. And I love the cultural aspect. And anyway,
I loved The Unhoneymooners. That it was just like romantic comedy, easy to read, easy to enjoy. I found myself like chuckling at times at things that happened. Like I don't laugh out loud in books very often, but that was a book like I would chuckle, and my family thought I was crazy because I was like chuckling at something, but then explaining it's probably not as funny when you explain it out loud. You just have to read it and be in it,
And it is funny. I was laughing, and one of the kids said, what are you laughing at, Mom? And I'm like, oh my gosh, this is so funny. And it wasn't anything they needed to they wouldn't have thought was funny anyway, but it was so great. And I don't know that I've ever laughed while I was reading a book. So anyway, easy read, great for spring break. I don't know if we've covered. Oh, what I do want to say, Bailey, I think we should let our listeners know this one may not have been a very exciting episode, but we said, Bailey and I said we were going to always try to make sure we did this weekly. And so we did just want to talk about spring break since that's where we currently are. But I also wanted to add that the next episode that we record, we are going to have a guest, and she has so much wisdom. And if you are a mom, then she will bring tears to she's got a testimony for so many different reasons in her life. But what we're going to talk about is parenting and the challenges, and her story is really beautiful. So I want our listeners to be sure and tune in to that episode that would be released on
March 21st.
March 21st. Yes. And that's if all goes well and we can still get together for what we've already planned. And she's been a friend. She's actually I call her my hair girl, but I've known her for years and she's amazing. And I think that everybody else is going to really enjoy knowing that their struggles that they're facing, that they really, truly aren't alone. And even after that, Bailey and I have lined up somebody else, and we're going to continue trying to incorporate people that we know that have something to share, to impart any kind of wisdom with whatever situation they have been through or are currently facing, because we want our listeners to know that they are not alone and that we are all imperfect and we are all in this boat together. And we just want you to know that in those overwhelming moments that somebody else understands.
Absolutely. I think that's perfect. You stated all of that, and I concur, and I cannot wait. I'm so excited to have some more people on here who have gone through seasons and who I can personally learn from and get wisdom from, because I know I'm a lover of learning, and I just want to continue to learn and grow as a human. So I'm very, very excited.
And I think that one of the things I just feel like we're going to learn, Bailey, and I just think it's going to be a good reminder that we've said this so many times, we just don't know. And, you know, nobody wants to be judged. And we've all judged. I mean, whoever says they haven't is a big old fat liar. So we've all judged. It feels really crummy to be judged. And I think these are things the people that we are going to have on will share with us. And it's going to be an eye-opener. Like, these are real human beings, and we love them, and they're kind and they're good. And these things happen. And, you know, don't point a finger. You could be next.
You never know. I know. And at the end of the day, you never know. You never know what someone's going through. So it just reiterates kindness and shining a light on human beings is the best way and the best thing that you can do. Just especially at our age, you never know. You never know what's going on with somebody. So just being kind. That's all.
Well, we are so glad that you came today, or that you tuned in to this episode. And we do have lots of good things coming in the future. So don't leave us. Hang in there with us and learn with us, grow with us. And we can't wait to hang out soon.
And keep falling with us. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in with us on today's episode of Falling into 40. You can find us on Spotify, YouTube, and Apple Podcasts.